Hello, my little dumplings. Welcome to this tiny corner of Europe you may not have heard of. Nestled between Romania and Ukraine, Moldova is often called the undiscovered gem of Europe. Moldova has a continental climate, perfect for growing grapes for their delicious wines. Did you know Moldova is the 20th largest wine-producing country in the world? The official language here is Romanian, and the capital city is Chisinau. From ancient monasteries and fortresses to stunning natural landscapes and vibrant cities, there's something for everyone in this enchanting country. And don't even get me started on the food, from savory pies and hearty stews to sweet pastries and, of course, more wine. Moldovan cuisine will tantalize your taste buds. So buckle up, my darlings, because in this video, we're taking you on a whistle-stop tour of the top 10 must-see attractions in Moldova. Our first stop takes us to Orul Vei, one of the most breathtaking and historically significant sites in Moldova. Imagine this, my dears, dramatic limestone cliffs carved by the meandering Rout River and nestled within this picturesque landscape. A cave monastery dating back to the 13th century. Monks sought refuge in these caves, carving out churches and living a life of quiet contemplation. Walking through these ancient caves, you can almost hear the echoes of the monks' chants and feel the weight of history seeping from the stone wall. And the views from the cliff tops, you can gaze out over the rolling hills and vineyards, a patchwork quilt of greens and gold stretching as far as the eye can see. It's enough to make you want to pack in your troubles, buy a vineyard and spend your days sipping wine under the Moldovan sun. Orul Vei is a must-visit for any traveler to Moldova. It's a place where history, spirituality and natural beauty collide to create an experience that will stay with you long after you've left. Speaking of distractions, let's move on to our next adventure. Now, my little grapes, let's talk wine. And when it comes to wine in Moldova, Crova Winery is in a league of its own. This isn't just a winery, darlings, it's an underground city of wine. Imagine streets lined with bottles instead of buildings, with street signs bearing names like Cabernet Sauvignon Avenue and Pinot Noir Place. Cricova's wine cellars are legendary, stretching for over 120 kilometers, longer than the London Underground. And instead of packed tube carriages, you've got millions of bottles of wine just waiting to be uncorked. Legend has it that even Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space, got lost in these cellars. But the real magic happens when you get to taste the wine. From crisp whites to full-bodied reds, Crova offers a wine for every palate. Just imagine, my dears, you're sitting in a dimly lit cellar, surrounded by millions of bottles of wine. The aroma of oak and ripe fruit filling the air, and you're tucking into a plate of sarmale and mamaliga, all washed down with a glass of Cricova's finest. So, if you're a wine lover, add Crova Winery to your Moldovan itinerary. Just remember to pace yourself. Those Gagarin stories aren't just urban legends, you know. After all that wine, you'll probably fancy a stroll, and there's no better place for it than Stefan cel Mare Park, the green heart of Chisinau. Named after Stephen the Great, Moldova's national hero, this park is a delightful mix of history, culture and natural beauty. As you wander along the tree-lined avenues, you'll come across statues of prominent Moldovan figures, ornate fountains and charming bridges over picturesque ponds. It's the perfect place to escape the hustle and bustle of the city and simply relax. Pack a picnic, find a shady spot under a tree and watch the world go by. And if you're feeling energetic, you can rent a boat and go for a leisurely paddle on the lake. The real highlight of Stefan cel Mare Park is the Alley of Classics, a tree-lined promenade featuring busts of famous Moldovan writers and poets. Chapter 4. Soka Fortress. A glimpse into the past. Now let's journey back in time to the 15th century, to a time of knights, battles and impressive fortresses. Soka Fortress, perched on the banks of the Dniester River, is a remarkable example of medieval Moldovan architecture. Built by Stephen the Great, Soka Fortress has stood the test of time, witnessing centuries of history unfold beneath its watchful gaze. Imagine, darling, the stories these walls could tell. From fending off Ottoman invaders to whispering secrets of love and loss, Soka Fortress has seen it all. Today you can wander through its courtyards, climb its towers for panoramic views of the surrounding countryside and almost hear the clash of swords and the roar of cannons. Keep an eye out for the reenactments where history comes to life before your very eyes. Soka Fortress is a must-visit for any history buff or anyone who loves a good castle. Chapter 5, Tiova Monastery, a haven of tranquility. Tucked away in a picturesque gorge carved by the meandering Dniester River lies Tiova Monastery, a place of serenity and spiritual significance. Imagine this, my dears, sheer limestone cliffs adorned with cascading waterfalls and nestled amidst this natural splendor, a monastery seemingly carved into the rock face itself. Tiova Monastery is like something out of a fairy tale, a place where faith and nature intertwine to create an atmosphere of profound tranquility. Founded in the 11th century, this monastery has witnessed centuries of history, surviving earthquakes, invasions, and even attempts to close it down during the Soviet era. But through it all, Tiova has endured, a testament to the resilience of faith and the enduring beauty of this sacred site. Whether you're seeking spiritual solace, a nature escape, or simply a break from the everyday, Tiova Monastery is a must-visit. Just be prepared to be charmed, darling, by its beauty, its history, and its legends. Chapter 6, Capriana Monastery, where history unfolds. Our next stop takes us to Capriana Monastery, one of the oldest and most significant religious sites in Moldova. Nestled in a secluded forest, Capriana feels a world away from the hustle and bustle of modern life. Founded in the 15th century, Capriana has witnessed some of the most tumultuous periods in Moldovan history. It served as a residence for Moldovan rulers, a center of learning and culture, and even a prison during the Soviet era. As you wander through its courtyards, admire its intricate frescoes, and light a candle in its candlelit chapels, you'll feel a sense of peace descend upon you. And if you're lucky enough to be there during a service, darling, you'll be treated to the hauntingly beautiful sound of the monks chanting. Capriana Monastery is more than just a place, it's an experience, one that will stay with you long after you've left its hallowed grounds. Chapter 7. Now, for all you history buffs out there, a trip to the National Museum of History in Chisinau is a must. This isn't just a dusty old building filled with boring artifacts, darling. This is a treasure trove of Moldovan history. A journey through time from the country's ancient origins to the present day. You'll find everything here, from prehistoric tools and Roman coins to medieval weapons and traditional costumes. There's even a fascinating exhibit dedicated to the Soviet period, a time that still casts a long shadow over Moldova. But the real highlight, darling, has to be the collection of Thracian gold. The National Museum of History is a fascinating journey through Moldova's rich and complex past. Remember Crova, my little corkscrews? Well, get ready for its even grander cousin, Milesti Mici, home to the largest wine collection in the world. This isn't just a cellar, darling. It's a subterranean city of wine. A labyrinth of tunnels stretching for over 250 kilometers, lined with millions upon millions of bottles of wine. We're talking Guinness World Record territory here, people. Over 2 million bottles of wine call this place home, and some of them date back to the 1930s. Imagine the history contained within those bottles, darling, the stories they could tell. Milesti Mici offers guided tours in cars. Yes, you heard that right. Cars, you can cruise through the underground streets, marvel at the endless rows of bottles, and even stop for a tasting or two along the way. A visit to Milesti Mici is an experience unlike any other. Just remember, darling, pace yourself. Those tunnels are long and the wine is plentiful. Nestled amidst forested hills and overlooking a dramatic gorge carved by the Chuhul River lies Sahana Monastery, a place of profound spiritual significance and breathtaking natural beauty. This isn't just a monastery, darling, it's a pilgrimage site. A place where people have been coming for centuries to seek solace, find peace, and connect with their spirituality. Legend has it that the Virgin Mary appeared to a monk here in the 18th century, leaving behind a footprint in the rock which is now enshrined within the monastery. As you wander through the monastery's courtyards, admire its colorful frescoes, and light a candle in the dimly lit chapel, you can't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder. And the views, darling. The views are simply breathtaking. From the cliff tops you can gaze out over the rolling hills and forests, a patchwork quilt of greens and golds stretching as far as the eye can see. It's enough to make you want to trade in your stilettos for walking boots and embark on a spiritual journey of your own. No trip to Moldova is complete without spending some time in Chisinau, the country's vibrant capital city. Now, Chisinau might not be as grand as Paris or as bustling as London, but it has a charm all its own, darling, a unique blend of old-world charm and modern energy. Start your exploration in the city centre, where you'll find a fascinating mix of architectural styles, from grand Soviet-era buildings to charming Orthodox churches. Take a stroll down Stefan Cel Mare Boulevard, the city's main artery, and soak up the atmosphere. Stop for a coffee at one of the many sidewalk cafes and watch the world go by. In the evening, Chisinau comes alive with a vibrant nightlife. From traditional restaurants with live music to trendy bars and clubs, there's something for everyone in the city that never sleeps. So there you have it, my little adventurers. A whirlwind tour of the top 10 must-see attractions in Moldova. From ancient monasteries and impressive fortresses to underground cities of wine and bustling city streets, Moldova has something to offer every traveler. But Moldova is more than just a collection of sights, darling. It's a country with a rich history, a vibrant culture, and a warm, welcoming people. So what are you waiting for, darling? Pack your bags, book your ticket, and discover the magic of Moldova for yourself. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more travel adventures. Until next time, stay curious, stay adventurous, and most importantly, stay fabulous.